দর্শক আমন্ত্রণ জানাচ্ছি চ্যানেল 24 এর নিয়মিত আয়োজন নিটল টাটা মুখোমুখিতে। নিটল টাটা মুখোমুখিতে আজকে আমরা কথা বলবো রোহিঙ্গা সংকটের এক বছর এই ইস্যুটিকে কেন্দ্র করে, বিশেষ করে এই রোহিঙ্গাদের সাথে যে শিশুরা এসেছে তারা কি অবস্থায় আছে, তাদের জন্য কি পরিমাণ খাবার রয়েছে কিংবা কি পরিমাণ শেল্টারের ব্যবস্থা রয়েছে, প্রোটেকশনের ব্যবস্থা রয়েছে, কিংবা তাদের নানা ধরনের অসুখ বিসুখ রয়েছে এবং অনেক নারী গর্ভবতী রয়েছে। প্রত্যেকটি ইস্যু নিয়ে আলোচনা করব। আর এই প্রতিটা ইস্যু নিয়ে আলোচনা করার জন্য আমাদের সাথে স্টুডিওতে অতিথি হিসেবে আছেন সেভ দ্য চিলড্রেনের কান্ট্রি ডিরেক্টর মার্ক পিয়ার্স। ওয়েলকাম টু দ্য শো।
Thank you.
So it's been a year, and how it's been first year? Massive people, so many people, so many child.
Well, I mean, the only way to describe it is extraordinary. I mean, to say that really it's extraordinary how the government of Bangladesh responded in the early days, allowing 1 million Rohingya to cross the border into Bangladesh. It was also extraordinary how the communities, the host communities in Cox's Bazar, in Teknaf, in Ukiah, opened their arms and provided shelter and food and water in those early days. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, I think also what's been extraordinary is the Rohingya people themselves, their resilience and their ability to be resourceful in dealing with this crisis, which has been so tragic. And last is really to say that the international community is really around the world mobilized itself to provide assistance to this crisis. You know, Save the Children, we had a very small presence in Cox's Bazar prior to the influx a year ago. But we are very fortunate that we were able to mobilize our resources from around the globe to provide assistance to the Rohingya. So we here today are able to reach a significant number of people in the camps and providing food, shelter, water to a large number of people.
So you're in the business for a long, long time. Have you seen such massive exodus, and how you deal with it? Because probably you had a small, as you said, you had a small capacity in the early stage last year. Now we have a big team in Cox's Bazar, and you sorted out where your priorities are. So how was it in the initial stage?
Well, I remember the first day when I got a phone call and saying that there are 1,000 people had crossed the border and they were in desperate shape, and that most of the people crossing the border were children. Mm-hmm. And then we heard the next day it was a few more thousand people crossing the border, and then more and more. And I remember sometime in September, it was 10 to 15, 20,000 people crossing the border each day. And yes. I said to myself, oh my God, this is really a crisis, and this is getting way out of our ability to manage. And we were, you know, as I said, we were just fortunate to be able to call upon our colleagues from around the world to come in and assist, because Save the Children does this everywhere. We do this in the Middle East, we do this in Africa, we do this in parts of the Americas. And so this is what we do in our business, and we were able to mobilize fairly quickly. But I must say that there was a point in September and early October where you realized that the crisis had overrun our ability, everyone's ability to respond. And that gave you a sense of helplessness. But we've gotten through it.
So how Save the Children is working now? I mean, what are your areas you're looking after?
Well, we actually work in 7 sectors, from providing food assistance to shelter, to health and nutrition, to education, to child protection. We do a lot of things in the camps. We're working in about 15 different zones, and reach 600,000 people and about 350,000 children. That's about 60% of the population.
Right.
So it's a significant program, and you know, we're very proud of it. But you know, we can only do it with the strong support of the donors as well as the government of Bangladesh. And I think everyone can congratulate all the various actors in this response for kind of rallying together to respond to this emergency.
And when you were first dealing with all these people, you have to find people who had food, good food, are very few. I mean, they had very few good meals in their entire life. When you find the children, especially pregnant women, they needed good food, they were needed medicines, and how it's been sorted out, because it was massive. It's massive, and comparing to that, the capacity for everyone is like less, and you need in 24 hours, right?
That's right. I mean, and that was really the problem early on, is that, you know, there was a need for food for women and children,
Right.
And there was need for medicines, and there was need for shelter. There was so many needs right at the beginning. But fortunately, I think that's where the international community, which has responded to these crises, whether it was the Nepal earthquake or the
Right.
Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines or the tsunami in Indonesia, I've been involved in all of those. And I would say that this emergency was different. But we were able to mobilize and get the resources out to people. It certainly helped that you had people in a very tightly geographic area that presented both opportunities as well as big challenges. But I think everyone did rally behind this response and have made a very good effort. And now we can say that while the acute crisis is largely over, and I think we have saved thousands of lives, the situation is still quite fragile, and you never know what will happen tomorrow, and that's our biggest worry.
But I definitely thank you for facing the challenges, and let's move forward. But we have to take a first break, and then we come back and discuss more about the show.
Sure.
দর্শক, আমরা কথা বলছিলাম কিভাবে সেভ দ্য চিলড্রেন এই এক বছরে এতগুলো মানুষের সাথে কাজ করেছে, তাদের প্রয়োজন মিটিয়েছে। আলোচনা চলতে থাকবে, সাথে থাকুন, ফিরছে একটি বিরতির পর। দর্শক, আমন্ত্রণ আরো একবার মুখোমুখিতে। আমরা আজকে কথা বলছি মার্ক পিয়ার্সের সাথে। ওয়েলকাম টু দ্য শো ওয়ান্স এগেন। Approximately how many children born in the Rohingya camps? Do you have any numbers?
Well, those numbers are hard to go by, you know, exactly. But when you have such a large population, and you can say, you know, if there's 700,000 or 800,000 Rohingya in the camps, you'll know that an X percentage or X number of children are going to be born into camps. I think in previous reports, the numbers were somewhere between 40 and 45,000 children would be born each year. And that's just a simple, you know, looking at the demographics of the camps.
As you said, you've been to the business for a long, long time. What would be their citizenship? I mean, the kids who were born there.
Well, you know, the thing is, I think we all accept that these are Rohingya people are from Myanmar, and they have a right to citizenship in Myanmar. And I would say it therefore follows that the children born of Rohingya mothers should be Myanmar citizens, and they should have a right to that citizenship, and they should have also birth certificates to indicate them as Rohingya people of Myanmar. So I think it's kind of straightforward that the children born in the camps should be seen as Myanmar citizens.
Okay, and how you're taking care of these kids? I mean,
well, we're providing a supplemental feeding and to the you know, children and pregnant, lactating mothers. And we're also providing assistance in terms of the most vulnerable, making sure that those children are being well protected. We provide child-friendly spaces for slightly older children. And actually we have a number of girl-friendly spaces so that girls in the camps have a safe place to play.
Right. And anything you're doing for their education?
Well, that's a big issue. You know, I think the important thing to say here is that 3/4 of the children in the camps, and that's about 325,000 children, right now do not have access to learning opportunities. And that's a tragedy because these children will grow up uneducated. And I don't think any country will benefit from the fact that having such a large number of children not having an adequate education. I think we all suffer when children are not educated. So I would say that would be one of the most important things to look at going forward, is how can we do more in making sure that the Rohingya children are educated.
And did you put this issue on the table of government?
Well, I think this issue is on the table of government as well as donors that we need to do more. And I think the government is trying to work towards providing an educational framework for the Rohingya children. That educational framework needs to be in their language based on a Myanmar curriculum because these children are considered to be Myanmar citizens.
Yeah, that's important because they need to know their own history. Right. On this discussion now we have to take another break and we'll come back and discuss more. দর্শক আমরা কথা বলছিলাম রোহিঙ্গা শিশুদের শিক্ষার ইস্যুটি নিয়ে। এটি অত্যন্ত গুরুত্বপূর্ণ কারণ যদি তারা শিক্ষা আলো না পায় হয়তোবা তাদের পিতামাতার সাথে যেটা হয়েছে তাদের সাথেও সেটা হতে পারে। তখন তাদের অধিকারের প্রশ্নে তারা হয়তোবা কথা বলার জন্য কি বলবে সেটি হয়তোবা তারা জানতে পারবে না যদি তারা সঠিক শিক্ষা না পায়। আলোচনার এই পর্যায়ে আরও একটা বিরতি নিচ্ছি, সাথে থাকুন, ফিরছি একটু পর। নিটল টাটা মুখোমুখিতে স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি আরও একবার। কথা বলছি সেভ দ্য চিলড্রেনের কান্ট্রি ডিরেক্টর Mark Pierce's সাথে। So welcome to the show once again. As we've been talking about the education, it's important for the Rohingya kids. And we are all fighting for or working for the rights of the Rohingya. That's the citizenship. That's the ultimate goal. Do you think that's achievable?
Well, it's a challenge, but I think it's really important for us to recognize that all pressure needs to be placed on the government of Myanmar to take back its citizenship, because anything less than that would basically let them off the hook.
Right.
The Rohingya very much want to go home, as long as it's safe and as long as they have basic rights. And I think we should honor that. We should respect that. This is meant. Some of them have been there for generations, and so I think it's certainly plausible that one day they will be able to go back if we continue to provide sufficient pressure and recognition for Myanmar to understand that these Rohingya people are their citizens.
I hope so. I mean, as Save the Children is working for the children, and you need a lot of money as well. Do you think the donors have enough money? Because at the last pledging conference, they have given quite good numbers of money, 434 million, if I'm not wrong. The UN has declared the new 10 months plan with 951 millions. It's the same people you are going to ask for the money. And you also have projects in other countries as well. So you have to sort of prioritize to get the money. And how challenging it's for you?
That's a really good question. How sustainable is it to have a refugee operation that costs $1 billion a year?
Right.
And so this is not a sustainable situation, both for the government of Bangladesh as well as the donors, and we need to find a solution. Yes, we can find ways to be more efficient in terms of providing our assistance so that we can reduce the costs and bring that number down. But the solution really lies in Myanmar, making sure that we're working towards making sure that the Rohingya people can go back. If we can first get a first 100,000 or 200,000, that would make a difference. But we need to really bring all the pressure on the government of Myanmar so that the Rohingya can go back home. That's the important thing, that they go back home to a safe environment so that we don't have to continue feeding the Rohingya. You know, at the end of the day, I mean, they want to go home. They want to live a life of dignity and freedom, and they should. And so we should do all we can to support them in that effort.
Right, and as the Foreign Ministry have probably briefed you about the Bhashan Chor, they want to bring some of the Rohingya people to the Bhashan Chor. I don't know that's a good plan or that will work out in any way, but how do you see this? What's your observation on this particular issue?
Well, I think you have to understand that Kutupalong mega camp is the largest refugee camp in the world. The density of the population is also one of the highest in the world, anywhere on this planet. And so one of the greatest needs for the camp, and particularly the mega camp, is decongestion of the camp and to find more space. And so we would advocate for the fact that if we could get the government of Bangladesh to allocate more land, flat land, 1,000 or 2,000 acres of land would certainly help in decongesting the camps. The government of Bangladesh has offered Basanchar as an alternative, which has maybe 14 or 15,000 acres, give or take maybe 1,000 acres. And they hope to move maybe 100,000 people there. Now, that presents some issues, and our issue there is we need to make sure that Basanchar is safe. We should make sure that people, if they are asked to move there, that they move there voluntarily,
Okay.
that they make an informed decision, and that there's assurances about their rights to access basic services like education, health care, that they have rights to livelihoods, that they could earn a living, and that also they have rights to movement, and so that if they want to come back and visit relatives in the mainland, that they have that right. So we're looking at it, and we're waiting to see. The island is not yet ready, and so we'll, look at what that situation is when the island is fully ready for relocation.
And last question of the show: do you have any access, or people in the Myanmar who works for the Save the Children are free to move? The question is, as Save the Children is working here for the Rohingyas, do the Save the Children have the same opportunity in Myanmar?
We work in many parts of Myanmar, and I'm the country director for Bangladesh, so I understand what we do in Bangladesh much better. But we do work in Myanmar, and we have programs in Rakhine State, and we would like to do more. And so we are trying to work with the authorities to try to gain access to the areas most in need and provide assistance to those people in need, both the Rohingya people and all the people in need in Rakhine State.
I mean, that will help a lot. Thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you.
And sharing your observation. I hope Save the Children will work more closely with Bangladesh government to help these Rohingyas, and I want to believe these people will get their rights back.
Thank you.
থ্যাংক ইউ। দর্শক, আমরা কথা বলছিলাম সেভ দ্য চিলড্রেনের কান্ট্রি ডিরেক্টর মার্ক পিয়ার্সের সাথে। আমরা কথা বলছিলাম রোহিঙ্গাদের অধিকার ফিরে পাওয়া নিয়ে। তিনি আশাবাদী এই মানুষগুলো তাদের হারিয়ে যাওয়া অধিকার একসময় ঠিকই ফিরে পাবে। দেখা হবে মুখোমুখির অন্য কোনো পর্বে।